everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk, and thank you very much for joining me today. This is what I've been making today. It's a very large box and it's very shiny because this paper is super foiled. Now it's just under 8 inches square, so it will hold quite a lot of stuff, and I've trimmed it with this tag, which I haven't actually stuck down because I want to show you that this box in fact will collapse right up for easy storage. And if you want to know how to make one, stay with me and I will show you. This box takes 2 pieces of 12 by 12 card. So for the lid I've got a piece of the foil frenzy in this box is going to take 2 pieces of 12 by 12 card. The lid is made using this piece, which is from the Foil Frenzy DSP, and as you can see it is very foiled and it is very bling. Now I've tried to adjust my lighting so that you don't get a lot of flare from this. I've done the best I can. To make the box itself, I need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 card. The base is a piece of crumb cake, and the lid is made from Foil Frenzy. This is the Berry Burst option. I've tried to adjust my lighting to minimise the flare, but as you can see it is very foiled and very blingy, so if we do get some flare coming off it, I'm very sorry. So these are the things that I'm going to use to trim the box. I've got a piece of Berry Burst card, and this is, I think it's about 5 inches, 6 inches by about 3. It just has to be big enough for the largest of the lots of labels framelits to go over. Okay, so that's just a scrap from another project. Whoops, my Versamark's making a bid for freedom. Going to use the Happy Birthday Gorgeous stamps, and it's the Happy Birthday one that I'm going to be using. You've already seen the Versamark making its getaway there, and I'm going to be using some embossing powder. Now this happens to be a mix that I created accidentally by dumping in some gold and silver embossing powder into the same pot. Alright, I didn't mean to do that, it was an accident, but do you know what, it's still good. I'm not going to waste it, and so I'm going to use it on this project. I have here some Berry Burst crinkled seam binding ribbon, which is absolutely beautifully silky, and some mini sequin trim in the basic black, and those sequins are so tiny and this is so fine, it's gorgeous. I've created a Gerbera daisy with the daisy punch and some circle punches. Now I'm not going to show you how I did that today because I've already posted a video showing how I made it, so I'll link below to that video if you want to see how I made the daisy, the Gerbera. And I've already mentioned the lots of labels framelits, so I'm going to be using those today. So that the 2 parts of the box will fit together, the base needs to be just a tiny little bit smaller than the lid. And so to do that, to make that happen, I'm going to cut down my piece of crumb cake here. And I'm just going to cut off 1/16 of an inch. Now if you look at where the 12-inch mark is, it's that little mark there, just inside, that tiny little mark there. That is 1/16 of an inch. So I've got my card lined up on my stamping trimmer. Let me make sure that it is square, because for a moment there it wasn't. And then I would have had a wobbly box, and I wouldn't have been happy with that. And I'm just going to cut off just that skinny little piece of card. And I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. Well, I'm not going to rotate. The card is going to rotate. If I rotated 90 degrees, I'd probably be standing on my head or something. Yeah, right, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So let's cut that in. Okay. There we go. Now I could do my scoring on the Stampin' Trimmer because it does have a scoring blade, but I actually prefer, in this case, to use my my big scoreboard. I'm going to work on the back of my foil fancy piece, so I'm just going to turn that over, and I'm going to score at 2 inches, rotate, 2 inches, rotate, 2 inches, and rotate, and 2 inches, and rotate. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the crumb cake piece, so that I have 2-inch borders all the way around. So that the box will fold flat, I need to put a couple of diagonal folds in. So I'm measuring from my fold, and I'm just going to put a mark at 2 inches, and then I'm going to join up this corner to the mark that I just made with my ruler, and I'm just going to score. Alright, and I'm going to do the same from this edge, so I'm going to measure 2 inches in from that fold, make a mark, and join them together. Alright, and now I'm going to rotate the card so that I'm now on the opposite side, and I'm just going to repeat those 2 folds, scores I should say. Glue dots on there or something. And now I'm going to go and do exactly the same on the lid of the box. And now I'm going to burnish all those folds with my bond folder. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to snip into these pieces here to create the flaps that will we'll put the adhesive on when we come to stick the box together. So I'm just cutting as far as where the fold lines cross, and I'm cutting a little bit out of that there to make the box stick together, fold together a bit better. I don't know what I'm talking about today. And I'm cutting these so that the flaps will fold into the piece that hasn't got the diagonal fold on. Because if I cut it so that it was going to fold into there, it would spoil the fold. I'd have to rescore it and refold it. Like that. Right? Okay. So I now have a piece that looks like this. Put me snips away, put a little guard on them, and I'm going to use Fast Fuse as my adhesive, and make sure that my Fast Fuse is running freely, and it is. And I'm going to be quite generous with the Fast Fuse because I am making this box ahead of time, and I don't really know at this stage what I'm going to be putting into it. So it might be something a bit heavy. Now, if you think that you're going to put heavy-ish items into your box, then I would very much recommend that you apply some wet glue in here as well. And maybe I will. As you can see, I'm putting my Fast Fuse around the edge of the flaps. They're nice big flaps, you know, they're 2 inches square. Or they started off 2 inches square. We trimmed them down a bit, didn't we? Go away. Fast Fuse doesn't want to go away. so it wouldn't actually hurt just to put a little spot of liquid adhesive in there as well. Okay. Your fast fuse is for your instant attraction, but your liquid adhesive is for your long-term gluing needs. And I'm just going to bring those edges together, making sure that I've got my corners nice and square. Just popping that down. And just work my way all the way around the box base. Now I'm showing you this on the base of the box. I'm going to go and do exactly the same to the lid, and then I'll come back and show you. Here's my lid. I am going to just use my 3/4 of an inch circle punch, and I'm just going to punch a little bit. I'm just kind of eyeballing this to try and get it halfway. Is that about it? Yeah, that's close enough. I'm just going to cut out a couple of little notches from either side here, just to make it a little bit easier to get the lid off, because I'm going to show you in a minute that they do fit. I'm just trying to line those two pieces up again by eyeballing it. Okay, there we go. Goodness knows where those pieces of card went. I just want to show you that they do fit quite snugly together. So I'm just going to pinch my box lid up so that it's sitting in the upright position, in the open position as it were. And the same thing to the base. And now if I bring the two pieces together, they do fit very, very snugly. But as you can see, there's before I do anything else to this card, I'm going to stamp it and emboss it. So I've got my Versamark pad, my happy birthday stamp mounted up on my clear block. I've got my silicone mat underneath. Now I'm positioning this towards the right hand side and as close to the middle as I can get it of my card. I'm just going to press down and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to give the ink plenty of time to transfer. Let's take a look at that. I'm quite happy with that. So next I'm going to dump on the embossing powder, and I did go over my card with my embossing buddy before I started. I didn't show you that, but I did do it. Don't always remember until after I've put the embossing powder on, and then I'm wondering why I've got all these bits of embossing powder sticking to my project, but today I did remember, so yay me. Okay, so that is now got the embossing powder on. I've got my heat gun here off camera, and it's because I'm embossing, I'm going to need it on top speed. So I'm just going to turn that on, let it warm up, and then I'm going to heat up my card. Next, I'm going to die cut this out with the largest of the framelets, and again I'm positioning this so that my stamping is towards the right hand side of the die cut. So I'm going to take that over to Big Shot and cut that out. So here it is, nicely die cut out. Now for the next step, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take the next to largest of the labels framelets, and I'm going to get some low tack tape here because I don't want this moving around. Alright, so now I'm going to line this up onto the piece I've already cut out. Okay, and I'm actually taping it to the silicone mat, because I'm going to be using the whole thing in just a moment. Alright, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring in my multi-purpose platform and open it to tab 1. Now if you've got one of the new platforms which comes with the with the various shims, you want to set it up for embossing, not for die cutting. All right, you don't need your you don't need your extra mat, and I'm using the Sizzix silicone mat here, which is a bit thinner than the textured impressions mat that Sizzix themselves sell. So experiment with this, and if you want a thicker impression, just add some more shims. Just add some layers of paper on top of your card. Right, okay, I was just about to do that without a cutting platform, which would have been silly. All right, so I've got my platform open to tab 1, cutting plate, silicone mat or textured impressions if you happen to have one of those. I do, but today I'm going to be using the Stampin Up silicone mat and other clear plate on top, and I'm going to take that over to the Big Shot and run that through. And here we are, I'm back. I did add an extra shim because I wanted just a little bit more pressure. Now when you're running it through the machine, it feels like it's not doing anything, but trust me, because when I take away the die and I turn it over, this is what I have, which I think looks rather elegant. So to finish this off, I've cut a length of seam binding ribbon, and actually I think that's a little bit too long, so I shall trim this down a little bit. Okay, just cut the end. Really should have got my ribbon scissors out. These are my paper scissors. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down with a little bit of test fuse. I think that should work fine. Okay, because this is all going to be covered up in a moment, so not getting too worried about that. And I've also cut a bit of the mini sequin trim. Now I did this ahead of time because I've just put a little spot of glue just on those cut ends there, and I also applied a spot of glue to the cut end that was on the reel, so that will stop. I hope that will stop the sequins from coming loose and falling off. Okay, that's all you need to do. And the fast fuse doesn't want to play today. There you go. Right, so I'm just going to loop that and just pop that down. All right, so where is my flower? Here it is. Slight moment of panic where I'd mislaid the flower. All right, and that is going to sit over there just like that, and I think I shall pop it up on a dimensional because I can. Go. Okay, and there, and that is all ready to go on to the front of the box. Two dimensionals onto the back of the tag, but for the time being I'm going to leave the protective backing on them, because what I can do is if I bring back my folded box, I can store this with the box. I can pop the whole thing into an envelope and put it away in a drawer until I'm ready to give my gift, and then when I'm ready to give my gift I can just open the box up, put my present inside. This would hold, I think, about 6 cupcakes or a small cake. You know, it's 8 inches square, so it's quite a sizable, quite a sizable box. Get a lot of goodies in there. alright, and then just wrap a ribbon around it if that's what I want to do, or I can just adhere the tag to the top of the box, just like that. So there it is, there is my finished box. Hope you've enjoyed watching this project. If so, then please do come back again and see me sometime, because I would love to have you. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, and come back and see me again soon. Bye bye.